Welcome to the Python programming's next session, which is the types of paths. So, in previous lecture we have seen the CSV file, working with the CSV file. So, our all three files are done. Today in today's session we are going to learn some concepts, okay, or some terminologies which you can use in the file handling very effectively, and these methods are applicable for all types of file, that is your text file, binary file and CSV file. So when we have learned for binary file, text file and CSV file, one thing was common: how to open the file, right? The syntax of opening the file and creating the file handle or file object is: name of the file object is equal to open method, in bracket you need to give the file name, and along with that the second parameter will be the mode. So that file name, in all the examples which we have seen till now, in all those examples I have mentioned file name only. I did not use the complete file name or complete file path in my program. But in several cases you might need to use the complete file path. Otherwise you will get the error, right? So what happens actually, that whenever you are trying to open the file, first of all, if you are opening the file in the read mode, then the file should already exist in your computer system, otherwise you will get an error that we already know. But what if the file is already exist but still you are getting the error? Why that will happen? Why that happens? Because your compiler or interpreter of the Python program could not find the file, because you first you have mentioned the wrong file name, that will be the case. Or second, the path you have mentioned, in that path, in that location, your file does not exist. Your file exists somewhere but not that path which you are providing in your Python program. So today we are going to learn the types of paths in the Python programming. Not only Python programming, but whenever you are learning the file structure, then you must know these two types of path to locate your file very easily. So there are two types of path. First is the relative path and second one is the absolute path. Relative path and absolute path. So in relative path means whenever you are creating the Python file using any Python application, for example Anaconda, Spider application, Spider editor, or suppose Python application or any other application you are using for Python programming, then after creating the Python program, your file will be saved into the default folder, the folder which is automatically created. And whenever you are installing your Python application, that time only all your files are dedicated to save in some particular folder. सारी फाइल्स आपकी एक ही जगह पे सेव होती है ऑटोमेटिकली बाय डिफॉल्ट. हाँ, अगर आपको फाइल दूसरी जगह पे सेव करना है तो आप पाथ मेंशन करके आप सेव कर सकते हो. यू कैन ऑलवेज use the different location to save your file, that is completely okay. But by default when you control S, you press the control S, by default your Python file will be saved in the same folder in which your Python application exists. Suppose while installing your Python application, it's saved in C drive and then apps. I am just giving one example. Here your Anaconda application is there and suppose Spider folder. Okay, this is your current application and current location. So here your file saved, file1.py. This will be saved in the same folder, in this folder. This path will be different, it can be different in your computer system. I am just giving one example. So here your Python file is saved. So what happens when you are working with the file handling, any type of file, that file will be if you are saving that file in the same directory, this C drive is your directory and these are the folders. So if you are saving your text file, binary file or CSV file in the same directory, in the same folder, then you don't need to give the complete path of your file. You are just mentioning the file name only. That is your relative path. When you are providing the file name only, then it's relative to that folder. Why it is called as a relative path? Because that file is related to the current directory and current folder where your all Python files are being stored. So this is the default managing system, so you don't need to give the complete path of file in the open method in the Python program. So you are just, this is relative to current working directory, current working directory. That means you are not changing this directory and folder, you are saving the file in that directory only. So in that case you don't have to mention the complete path. Even if you mention the complete path, it's not wrong, it is okay, but why to give the long path when you can just mention the file name only, right? So this is your relative path. When you just mention you are already in your current working directory as Python and then you are just giving the file name, that's okay. That is your relative. Absolute. What is absolute? Your Python files, all your Python files and applications are stored in C directory in this folder, but your text file, your binary file or CSV file you are saving in, suppose, D drive in any folder, folder 1, any folder. So that will be your outside of current working directory. This is your current working directory, this is outside of your current working directory. In that case you need to provide the absolute path. Suppose you are opening the file in the Python program file handling and you know that file exists but not in C drive where your Python files are stored, in D drive. So you must give the complete path, means file object 1 is equal to open. In the first case you are just giving the file1.txt only, that's all in the first case because you are working in current working directory. But suppose your file is in D drive, then you need to give the complete path. D drive, okay, here folder 1, okay, this might be your first folder, then data will be your second folder, and inside that your file 1 is there, file1.txt, right? So you need to give the complete path. That is your absolute, where you are giving the complete path of the file. If your file exists in the outside of current working directory, then you must use the absolute path. So these are the two types of path. The reason why I have mentioned this, because you need to sometimes you need to access the file. You know the file is there because you have just created, but you forget that where you have stored the file, where you have saved the file, right? And then you keep going to give the different locations and then you will keep getting an error, and file handling in the programming is very bit tricky. The concept we have seen is the theoretical, But when you are actually performing in the any Python application, then you will get to know that this is a little bit trickier when it comes to the programming. So that's why you must know these two facts, especially when you are accessing the file in the computer system. So these are just types of paths of the file. The next topic is updating the file. Updating the file, any file, especially text file and binary file. So updating means what? To change the data of the file, right? When you are opening the file into from the read mode, then you can't update the file. You are just reading the file content. When you open the file in the write mode, then you cannot update the file because you are erasing the previous data completely and you are writing the new data. This is updating, but you are not adding the data to the file. And when you are appending the data to the file means you are appending the data, right? You are adding the data. But what if you need to add the data in between contents? There are 5 lines and you need to add one extra line after third line. So what you need to do that? What you need to do? ऐसा अगर करना है तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा? You need to change the file pointer location. Now what is the file pointer location? File pointer location is where your file pointer currently is in the text. Suppose 5 lines है आपके फाइल में. There are 5 lines in your code, file, and your file pointer position will be either first location, or in the middle one, or in the last one, depending on. So how to identify with that and how to update the file after that? So there are 2 methods in Python. Python provides 2 methods. First is the tell method. Tell is the method to find out where your file pointer position is currently. And second is the seek method. Seek method means to change the file pointer position to somewhere else, right? You are changing your file pointer position. Now how will you identify and why this is required? When you are reading the text file, then suppose you have read the first 20 bytes, first 20 characters. So definitely your file pointer will be at the 21st position. This is your file, okay, and this is your data. Suppose these are the characters, okay, and you have read the first 5 bytes. So you are starting from here for the read 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have read till 5 and your current file pointer position will be at 6, right? And after that, suppose I have read 10 bytes. So after this letter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But you need to include space also. I am not including space just for the explanation, but space also counts. So after 10 bytes, your file pointer is at this position. After that, you just want to know where your file pointer is, currently where your file pointer is. How to know that? By just calling the tell method. How to call tell method? Using your file object that you have already created previously. So just call the tell method and in the output window you will get to know that where your current file pointer position is. So what is the syntax of that? Tell, first tell method, your file object. I am not writing the whole program again because several times I have mentioned. So your file object dot tell method. So that's how you will know where your current file pointer position is, because it's very difficult to find out the current file position by yourself. In text file you will know by just adding the bytes together, but in binary file you can't know where your file pointer position is. So this tell method works, tell and seek methods both works for both files, binary and CSV, or binary and text file, go for both files. So just to mention or just to know where your current file pointer position is, you are just calling the tell method. So in the output window you will get your file pointer position is at, suppose at 15th position, 50th position. You will know that 50th position your file pointer is there. So this is your tell method. We will perform some programs afterwards. It might take some more time for the programming sessions, but we are covering all the programs for this because these are some interesting concepts. So this is your tell method. Second method is the seek. Now you already know seek method. You already know your file pointer position as 15th. So you need to change it. You need to change the file pointer position backwards, or you might need to change to forward, or for the first initial line, for the last line, for the end of the file. So you can do anything you want. You can change the file pointer position using the seek method. So what is the concept of seek, or what is the syntax of seek method, that we will see. Seek method of the file handling is your file object. Once you have created file object, your file object dot seek. Here we have some parameters. First is your offset value. This is your offset value, and this is one optional, which is your mode. This is optional, but we will mention the mode to avoid the confusion. So the syntax is file object 1 dot seek, offset value and mode. Now what are the offset value and what are the mode values? Offset means number of bytes, after how many bytes you are changing the position. Offset means number of bytes, for how many bytes you want to change the position, after 10 bytes, before 10 bytes, what are the bytes. So offset means number of bytes or number of characters in your file content. And mode, there are 3 mode. Now this mode, don't be confused with this mode and your file handling, those opening mode. No, 3 modes are there for the seek method: 0, 1 and 2. 0 means, and this is the default mode, from the beginning of file, because seek method is used to change the file pointer position. So 0, if you are mentioning the 0, then beginning of file, you are changing the file pointer position from beginning of the file for some number of bytes, that is your 0. Then 1, current position in file. So suppose you are already at the 50th position, then you are just changing the position from that 50th bit, 50th character, not from the beginning. If you are mentioning 0, then your file pointer will be changed to 0 first, beginning of the file, and then offset number of bytes. But if you are mentioning 1, that means you are not changing the file pointer position, you are staying wherever you are, and before or after the offset value, number of bytes, you need to change the file pointer position. And then 2 is for end of the file, means end of the file. So means you are going to end of the file and then you are changing the file pointer position. So 2, if you are going backwards compulsory, then you are mentioning the 2. Here beginning of the file 0 is your default mode, means if you don't provide the mode, it will automatically go to the beginning of your file, and then it will count the offset value and change your file pointer position. Current position, wherever your file pointer is, it will stay there as it is, and then it will change. And 2 is for the end of the file. The file pointer first will go to the end of the file, and then it will go to the backwards for changing position. Now here, suppose I want to use, just memorize this, and I will show you some examples that how to use the seek method. Now here, one thing you need to remember, that I will explain it with the example. How to call the seek method, your file object. Suppose you have already opened the file and you have created the file object is equal to file object dot seek. Okay. Now I want to move forward with 20 bytes. Okay. And my file pointer position will start from the beginning of the file. So I will explain 0. I will write down 0 here. So 0 means beginning of the file. So no matter where your file pointer position is, it will automatically go to the first character. After first character, it will count the first 20 characters, and then your file pointer position will be at 21st character after 20. So this is your offset value. After 20 character, your file pointer position will be set. 0 is my beginning of the file, so no matter where your file pointer position is, it will go to the beginning of the file. Second, suppose file object 1 dot seek, here 30, 1. 30, 1. Here 1 is for the current position of the pointer. So suppose my pointer is already at the 20th. My pointer is already at the 20th position. So after 20, that file pointer will remain there only. After 20, for next 30, you are moving forward. Suppose this is the file. Okay. So my current file pointer position, suppose here. This is my current file pointer position. So I will move forward. The file pointer position will be here only, and I will move forward in this direction for 30 character including space. So for 30 characters, suppose I am here. So I will change my file pointer position here for the next 30 characters, because 30, 1. And suppose this value, offset value, will be positive or negative in case of mode 1 and 2. How? That I will show you. File object 1 dot seek, suppose -15, 1. Here I am providing the mode as 1 from the current file position. So why -15? Because instead of going forward, you are going backwards. So here suppose your current file pointer position is this, and you are changing it back for the 15 character, but not ahead, for backward side. So you are going here, negative value. This is the negative value. So from current file pointer position, you are going backward. So backward 15 characters. So just count from here, and suppose your 15 characters end here. So this will be your file pointer position now. So it matters a lot. Here for mode 1 and 2, we are giving the negative value as well. For 1 we can give negative value also and positive value also. For 0 it is not possible to give negative value because you are already starting with the first position. You cannot go backward. So when you are using the 0th mode, then you are always give the positive offset value only, not negative. Next is, suppose file object 1 dot seek here -30, 2. Here I am using the mode as 2. So 2 means the end of the file. End of the file is here. This is your end of the file. So you place your file pointer position at the end of the file and you need to go backwards. You cannot go forward. So you are going backward, and backward 30 characters. You are counting 30 characters and then you are placing the file. So from backwards just count 30 characters, suppose here. So this is your current file pointer position you are placing. So backward 30 characters, and that's all. Okay. The next example, suppose file object 1 dot seek 10, only 10. I am not giving any mode. So if you are not giving any mode, by default your mode is 0, and you automatically go to the beginning of the file, that is your default position, and from the beginning of the file you just count for the 10th character and then you will change the file pointer position. Now just remember the thing, for mode 1 and 2 you can use the negative option, because for 1 you are middle of somewhere in the content. You can go forward also, you can go backward also. If you are going forward, then you can give the positive value. If you want backward, then you can give the negative value. For one mode, that is applicable for one mode only. When you are trying to change the current position, trying to change the file pointer from the current position. For 2, you cannot go forward. So if you are using the mode 2, you cannot use the positive value since you are not going forward. You need to go backward because you are at the end of the file. So for 2, compulsory minus negative value, negative offset value will be placed. And for 0, you are already at the beginning of the file. So you can't go backward. You always go forward for the 0th mode. So you will give positive value only. So for 0 you can't give negative, only positive. For 1 you can mention positive also, negative also, and for 2 you are mentioning the negative value only, not positive. And if you are not mentioning any mode, by default it will be considered as 0th mode, right? So this is all about the seek method, and we'll definitely try this with the programs soon. And till now just clear your theoretical concept first, then we can go ahead with the program. For today's session, that's all. Thank you.